In today's video, I'll take you on the redesign process step by step for the Golden Village mobile view. Here's what you'll actually pick up. How I think through a web or app redesign from start to finish, some useful tools I rely on that you can steal for your own workflow, and practical tips to level up your UI UX game. Ready? Let's start. If it's the first time you're watching my video, hi, I'm Wei Wei. I work as a UX lead in the tech industry. So I picked Golden Village as a demo project over here because even though they are the largest and leading cinema operator in Singapore, their website is just so difficult to use. Let me show you what I mean. So I want to start with this movie detail page right here as the focus for the redesign project because I have a lot of personal gripes about it. The first thing you realize when you land on this page is it's quite a busy page with a lot of banners going on top, calling you to join the GB Movie Club and also some other promotions. So honestly, it's a bit distracting and not adding a lot of value at this point because I'm trying to, choose the movie first. And then the next thing you realize is the layout is not very well optimized for mobile. The font is on the smaller side, and also I think the visual hierarchy can be more tailored for mobile. When you look at the gallery portion, I think it can be more engaging and dynamic. Like at least we can add in the trailer, right? Next, when you scroll down further, you notice the buy tickets button, and this is below the fold, buried quite deep, especially compared to some of the CTAs on top. Like, actually, this is the most important CTA on this page. It should be more visible. So I'm thinking putting it as a sticky button at the bottom. So how do I choose the movie slot? I select my cinema first before I select the time slot. Well, let's not talk about how difficult it is to use this kind of drop down on mobile, but what concerns me more is actually this caters to a very fixed mental model of you have to know exactly where you're going first before you see the time slot, which is, yes, the majority of people's thinking, but it only caters to this mental model. But about moviegoers' preference, at least they are thinking about two things as priorities when choosing a movie. One is the location, the other one is the timing. So how do we enhance this section to support the alternative mental model, like people who place timing as a very high priority? So the bottom section is the reviews. I think this adds a lot of value. It helps people decide if they want to go to the movie or not. So based on the context so far, I would like to anchor my redesign to three main objectives. First is to modernize the page design. Second is to increase user satisfaction, not just to make it look better, it needs to work better as well. And finally, drive conversion. Specifically in this case, I want to get more people to click on the book button. Also, very importantly, ever since AI emerged as a powerful tool, it has become a habit to talk to my AI assistants for some ideas before I dive into the nitty-gritties of the actual design. So let's talk to Claude first for some suggestions. It starts by talking about the strengths of the page, and when it comes to some of the improvements, the first one it highlights is information overload. So yeah, the page is quite busy and hard to scan quickly. When it comes to showtime selection UX, I think it has embedded really interesting ideas. So look at this one, add seat availability indicators. You can show almost full or a few seats left. I think this will nudge people to book the tickets quickly if there are really few seats left. And another one, add format tags such as IMAX, highly relevant for enthusiastic moviegoers. CTA optimization, again, it also suggests that make the primary CTA sticky at the bottom. Review section, it tosses out some ideas to improve, and then it highlights additional enhancement. So overall, solid starting point to get the creative juices flowing. In case you haven't noticed, we are already here in the redesign project. We started with clarifying and defining the objectives, and followed by the research and ideation. Another place I always go for research is Mobbins. It's literally my go-to. Mobbing has a collection of this world's best user experiences and also curates it by like different categories and flows. So you would be able to search for what you are researching on, and I would actively seek out competitive apps, like download them and take a look as well. For some of the projects, I would start sketching the lo-fi wireframes first, but given that this is a relatively straightforward project and I've got a pretty good handle on the requirements already, I actually jump straight into hi-fi. But for illustration's sake, I'm sketching out the user flows in the new design. I envision that it will start with a movie detail page with a CTA sticky at the bottom, while click on it will lead on to the next page where the list of timing is shown. Let's call it the ticket booking page. I'll start working on the ticket booking page first. So I want to write down the key information sections on the page. It will have an image header to reflect which movie I'm looking at. I want to put the date selection right on top so people can see not just the list of theaters but also the timings. We would have filters as well, and followed by the full list of movie timing. So just getting on it. For the date selector, let me put today very bold and prominently over here. For the rest of the dates, we'll highlight the date of the week and the actual date, so it's very clear and intuitive. Then for the list of movie theaters, I want to make sure that they are sorted from the nearest to the furthest by default, because that just aligns with people's behavior. So this one would be Boogies Plus, how far it is away. For the movie timing, I want to create them as chips, easy for people to select and click on. So we have incorporated the few seats left recommendation. Let me make it red as well to convey the sense of urgency. We have a view all button here for each of the theater, so if you know that this is the place you want to go to, you can also navigate to a dedicated page for the theater, and you can choose your preferred timing or movie from there. So Golden Village actually has a range of different movie experiences. It has Gold Class, it has, I think, Gemini. So let me incorporate that in as well by indicating them in the thumbnail. This way, just at one glance, you can distinguish them very well. Now I want to work on the filters. Well, the sorting by distance is already the default one. So I think under this, you would also have like a pricing, just for illustration's sake. And the next one is the movie format. I think IMAX will definitely be in here. I'm not such a frequent moviegoer, so this is kind of the only thing that comes to my mind, but maybe there are more. Then time slot as well as facilities. I think these two are also quite important. Basically, I want to include filters that would reflect moviegoers' preference, and these should help people locate the tickets as fast as possible. So this is the sort filter, what it looks like when it expands. For the time slot, I provided a few random slots over here just to make it feel more realistic. Facilities provided some sample selections here as well. Granted, if I talk to Golden Village or survey moviegoers, I would be much more certain about what kind of data I should include under the filters. So if you're working on a real life project, be sure to talk to your internal stakeholders. Okay, I'm gonna quickly put a few screens together to show what the filters look like once they're activated. These will be in the primary golden color to show that they are on. And for things like time slot and facilities, you would also indicate how many parameters are selected. So next, I want to create a movie theater page just to complete the flow. So you will come to this page if you choose to zoom in to a particular movie theater. Again, I want to start the design by listing down the key sections on this page. So theater address will be up front, showing people how to navigate to this place, followed by a high-level description, a date selector, the list of movies and timing. So these components, we can just reuse whatever we have already built. And finally, I think facilities will be quite important to highlight as well if we have the time. This is what I've come up with. Something really simple. As you can see, there's a consistency in the layout with the booking page. I've chosen to just mention the facilities very briefly under the description, but if I have more time, I probably include a list of icons and the specific facilities on the page. Okay, so we're finally at the movie detail page. And the first thing I want to do is to ask Claude again, like what are the key pieces of information the moviegoers would evaluate before deciding going to a movie. So based on its input, I have come up with this list of sections for the page. We already know that the CTA is going to be persistent on the page, and that's like one of the key components. Gallery as well, maybe with a trailer. Then the summary card with some of the key information highlighted by Claude, followed by synopsis, cast, and review. So placing the image on top, and then I start playing with the information on the summary section. I tried this layout. I'm not very happy with it. I think it still looks a bit messy. So just continue iterating until I'm happier with this version. So here's what I do. For the key display sections for a page, I usually try out a few different layouts just to see which one fits the overall look and feel better. So this one is like another card version, and this one looks a bit like the ticket stub, which I don't know, it doesn't suit very well. Okay, so in the end, I chose the pop-up card design, which also has a nice gradient in it to spice up the look a bit more. Then we have the synopsis, very short and sweet, followed by the cast section, then the review. If you compare it with the original Golden Village review section, I've whittled down a lot of the information, just focusing on displaying the most important things like who did the review, at what time, making it more scannable overall. Also, I have added some summary keywords on top. I've seen this showing up on a lot of like e-commerce sites or review sites, which can be AI generated. So it gives you a flavor of the movie without you going into all the detail. I think this is something great to add here. And finally, not to forget the trailer element, just gonna add in a play button over here with the carousel indicator. Oh, so just hold on a second. I think I have one more thing to add before we go into that. So in the initial page, there are additional CTAs like GV Movie Club, which I assume are important conversion goals for Golden Village as well. But here's what I do. I'll throw those straight into the checkout flow, like right where when people are looking at the price and the final payment details, because that's when they're focused on what they're actually spending money on, and they are way more likely to pay attention to this kind of deals. Whereas if you place them early on when they're still looking at which theaters to go to or what time slots to choose, they are likely to tune it out completely. They're just in a different headspace. So there is a right time for everything, and now it's the time to look at the redesign. Hope that you find this mini show and tell helpful. And if you stayed this long, maybe consider subscribing. If you are interested in learning more about advanced prototyping effects such as typing animation, check out this video. Thanks and bye!